Welcome to the first episode of Tackle on One, a series of Guild Ball match reports. This game took place in Cologne, Germany, and was part of a three-player team tournament with the same rules as the World Team Championship. I took the butchers, and my teammates played blacksmiths and farmers. In round 1 we were paired against the team from Belgium, Hagi, Köhn and Matthias, all WTC players. This match was played before the new plot cards, so it's played with the old plot cards. For the terrain, you see 4 pieces of obstructions, and at the bottom, only partially visible, is a fast ground. I win the roll-off and I elect to receive. My captain choice is Ox with Truffles as a mascot, and my opponent takes Hammer and Marbles. The rest of my team after the draft is Meat Hook, Veteran Brisket, Boar, and Shank. My opponent takes Brick, Mallet, Tower, and Mist. I really like Ox into Masons. The legendary is very good to counter the tough height and hit points and armor, and I prefer the big brawl in the middle rather than try to play with fillet. As I received, I took Veteran Brisket. I want to score very early to get more influence on the table, and this is my staple 6 for Ox. My opponent sets up and elects to kick with Hammer. His setup from top to bottom is Mist, Brick, Hammer, Mallet, Marbles, and then Tower at the bottom. I set up Shank at the top, then Boar, Veteran Brisket, Ox, Truffles, and Meat Hook at the bottom. I had Shank at one side and Meat Hook on the other side to retrieve the ball because they are my fastest player that are not Veteran Brisket, which I put centrally because I want to be able to score with her and still have a little bit of leeway where I want to go. The kick goes to the wall, and I start with Meat Hook. And I allocate her 3, and it's 4 on Veteran Brisket because I want to score with her, 4 on Ox, and 1 on Shank. My opponent gives 5 to Hammer, 2 to Brick, 1 to Mist, 1 to Tower, and 4 to Mallet. Meat Hook takes the ball, kicks it to Ox, and tools up Veteran Brisket. Tower jogs forward and tools up Hammer, and Truffles just takes a jog. Mist runs next to the obstruction to start next round in cover. Ox puts Tough Skin on Veteran Brisket, runs and kicks the ball to Shank. I still want to build up some momentum before I go on a goal run with Veteran Brisket, and Veteran Brisket will be very deep in the opposing team, so putting Tough Skin on her is a good choice, I think. Brick just jogs forward to put the countercharge bubble further up the field. And Shank kicks the ball to Veteran Brisket, and Veteran Brisket dodges forward. And then Shank just jogs to cover. Marbles moves up a little bit and stays in 4 inches of Brick to have countercharge. And now I want to see if I can score with Veteran Brisket. And if there's a good place, I can land. I have to be somewhere where the threat of a counter charge is not really a problem for me, and I'm checking if I can get far enough through the gap between mist and brick to be able to score. And this position is in counter charge range of marbles, but I have unpredictable movement, so I'm pretty safe from that. And marbles also then doesn't elect to counter charge. So I run to the position you can see with the proxy base, just use quick time, and I'm then in goal scoring range. I'm in 2 melee zones, but I bonus time back to 2 dice. It's probably a little bit risky with only 2 dice, but I really want to score early here. And I do not hit. So the ball scatters, and I cannot dodge away. It's then mallet activating and putting the hurt on Brisket. It's a knockdown, 2 momentous, smash shins, and again 2 momentous damage. Yeah, I was really hoping for the goal here, not only for the victory points, but also if I can then dodge further away behind the obstruction, I'm basically safe from everyone and without any retaliation to veteran Brisket. I take Boar, and Boar moves up to stay a little bit more than 10 inches from Hammer, so Hammer cannot reach Boar. And Hammer takes Iron Fist and March, and then just jogs to Meat Hook and knocks her down, and then does 4 damage, 4 damage, 4 damage, and a push. He could have killed Meat Hook with the last hit, but doesn't want to because he wants to set her up for the second turn. And so Meat Hook is almost dead and knocked down. Yeah, this was probably not really good from my side. Maybe should have moved up Truffles further. Should have given Truffles maybe 1 to move further up, a little bit protection on Meat Hook with an additional just melee zone with a crowd out or something like this. Yeah, not my best positioning there. So turn 2, and the Masons win without any roll-off because I've gained so much momentum. And the allocation is 4 to Mallet, 4 to Hammer, 4 to Mist, and 1 to Brick. I allocate 5 to Ox, 3 to Shank, 1 to Boar, 1 to Truffles, and 2 to Veteran Brisket. Yeah, Hammer activates first, just kills Meat Hook, and runs away. And this is perfect first activation for my opponent. Hammer is totally safe, and yeah, basically took out one of my players and gave up nothing for it. So I'm checking if it's possible for me to take Ox there and just go in, maybe legendary, and then put the hurt out. And the problem is there's no position I can get to where I'm not countercharged. I cannot get far enough into Brick to deny the countercharge from Brick. I cannot get in within 2 inches of him. So yeah, I have to scrap that plan. I have to wait for a later possibility with Ox. So I activate Veteran Brisket, use my momentum from going second to shake the knockdown, then just quick time away and take my jog. It's a parting blow from Mist, but I don't really care. It's 1 damage. So Mallet runs back to retrieve the ball, snaps it, and then just kicks it to Brick. And Brick dodges a little bit back with the ball. Yeah, he wanted to do something else with Mallet. He has a lot of wasted influence now on Mallet. But yeah, he needed someone to retrieve the ball because he wanted to have the ball live. And yeah. Okay, so he has Brick a little bit further back, still ready for a counter charge. And I'm checking what to do with Shank here. And I see that I can go in there. It's a possible counter charge from Brick, but Brick does not choose to take the counter charge because he's, I think, correctly afraid that yeah, he has the ball then too far up, because during a counter charge he cannot drop the ball. So yeah, that would be a problem. If he whiffs that counter charge, then Shank suddenly can get the ball, and yeah, that's a problem. So he doesn't counter charge. So Shank just jogs to Mist and takes a momentous damage and a dodge, and 3 momentous damage and a dodge, and then where they go to a place where we can stop the counter charge here and engage both of them, and yeah, has a good position there. Brick activates and attacks Shank, takes 2 damage and then a knockdown, and then jogs away and drops the ball for Mist to later retrieve it. Truffles doesn't really have a target, and I see no chance that he ever will in this turn. So I take Truffles as a delay activation. I don't want to go too far up. Maybe I should have. So I only jog with him, and I have 1 influence left. So I put out a Hog Wild. Doesn't really matter. Just I don't want to waste the influence. What I also do is with the momentum I had from all the Shank attacks, Truffles stands up Shank. Mist acrobatics out, snaps the ball on the way, and then has a bonus timed kick with 4 dice, hits the goal, and knee sliders away. So it's now 6-0 for the Masons. Again, he scored without basically any retaliation. That's pretty bad for me, but well played from him. Okay, so it's Ox turn. Ox runs, snaps the ball on the way, and puts himself in a position where he can affect the field. And stays 6 inches from Hammer, puts a butchery on Hammer, tries to do a they ain't tough on Hammer, that fails, and then Ox kicks to Boar, who dodges forward and is now again threatening Hammer. Marbles just jogs a little bit and has the counter charge live again, and then it's Boar's charge. Boar drops the ball on the way, so he doesn't take the ball to the Mason side, but on the way he drops it, so it snaps to Ox. And Marbles makes a counter charge, and I drop the plot card Brace for Impact, so the pushes don't really worry me because I can ignore them. And yeah, Marbles does a little bit of damage, but I don't care. Boar will heal it anyway. And so then Boar starts hitting Hammer, and that's really a lot of hurt. And after Tough Hide, it's 4, 3, 3, and 3 damage. Last activation of the turn, Tower just jogs, and the turn ends. Turn 3, we have a straight roll-off for initiative, and the Masons win. Allocation is 5 on Hammer, 4 on Tower, 4 on Mallet, and 1 on Marbles. I put 1 on Boar, 1 on Truffles, 2 on Veteran Brisket, 5 on Ox, and 3 on Shank. So it's Hammer to activate first, and he takes Iron Fist and starts hitting Boar. First attack is 5 damage. The second attack, I don't know. From the notes and the audio, I cannot figure out what the second result was. But the next was 3 momentous damage, then again 5 and 3 momentous damage. And that together killed the Boar. So it's 8-0 for the Masons, which is a pretty bad place to be when you're the Butchers. Then Hammer wants to legendary, but decides otherwise because there's still Ox and Hammer will probably not survive. He heals just because he can and to make it harder for me to kill Hammer, but yeah, he thinks the legendary is really wasted there. So he decides against the legendary and just finishes his activation there. He cannot get away because he had to jog to Boar to attack him, and so that was his jog. Okay, so it's Ox activation now. Ox drops the ball, puts up the legendary, and charges Hammer. And Hammer declares a counter attack. Ox charges to a place where I also engage marbles, so marbles cannot counter a charge. And in hindsight, this was pretty stupid from me because if you look at the pitch, marbles is definitely more than 4 inches away from brick and wouldn't have had a counter charge anyway. So it was really useless to go there. All it provided was a crowd out that I didn't need. Okay, so I start hitting a Hammer. I take the knockdown and 3 momentous damage on the wrap. And after that it's 5 momentous and then 4 damage and a butchery on tower. And yeah, with everything that Boar did in the last round, I kill Hammer. It's now 8-2 for the Masons. And I still have influence left, so I attack marbles and also put -1 arm on tower. Mallet activates and attacks Shank. First result is a knockdown. Second attack is singled out and 4 damage. Next attack is 4 and 1 on the wrap. And last attack is 4 damage and that kills Shank. It's 10-2 for the Masons. Okay, now it's time for Truffles. Truffles is within 4 inches of Ox, and it's time for Sikkim. So Truffles charges for free and charges Tower. Tower declares a counterattack, and so I have to take the knockdown as one of my results because I really do not want that counterattack to push me out. So it's 5 damage and a knockdown on the first attack and 5 damage on the second. Yeah, Truffles under Ox's legendary with butchery up is pretty good. Okay, Mist just takes a jog up and that's it. Wants to threaten the ball a little bit. So yeah, I need that ball live. If I want to come back in this game, I need to score, and because I mean I'm back really far. It's 10-2 for the Masons, so I will not be able to brawl myself to 12 points. So Veteran Brisket goes in, runs snaps the ball, and hopes that maybe she can score before this game is over. Yeah, I'm taking a little bit away from Mist, and I'm pretty certain I can score from there next turn. Okay, Brick just jogs up, and Meat Hook also just jogs up. Then it's Marbles. Marbles just jogs a little bit forward, and I'm behind on activation, so Tower can activate immediately and attacks Truffles. And I declare a counter attack. Tower takes a push, but does not want to push the Truffles away, but keep it there, generate momentum. My counter attack is pretty good. It does 4 damage. And Tower attacks again. Does a knockdown. I forgot Sturdy here, so I shouldn't have been knocked down. But yeah, doesn't really matter. Tower then farms momentum, and maybe if I wouldn't have been knocked down, he wouldn't have wrapped, because I mean, Tower bonus, and so yeah, so maybe it was important, and I should have remembered that I'm sturdy. Masons have one more momentum, and they also win the roll. So their allocation is 4 on Mallet, 5 on Hammer, 3 on Brick, and 1 on Tower. I think they're missing 1 influence here. Maybe I missed something, maybe someone got allocated more and I don't know it, but I think there's 1 missing influence here. My allocation is 3 on Meat Hook, 3 on Shank, 1 on Veteran Brisket, and 5 on Ox. Yeah, I should have given Veteran Brisket here more, just to be able to score here more easily. But yeah, the game was almost over here, and yeah. So Mallet starts, jogs in, attacks Ox, and knocks down, and then a singled out, and then 4, and again 4 points of damage. And yeah, Ox has taken a beating here. He's set up with singled out in the middle of the Masons, so that's not a good place to be. And yeah, I'm checking here if Hammer can get through these 2 models to reach me there if I have to go somewhere else, but I do not want to take a parting blow from Mallet, especially when I'm singled out. I mean, that's just not really good. So yeah, I know I cannot get away. I try to put out more hurt. Maybe survives this. So I shake the knockdown. Parting blow from Marbles does 2 damage. I jog to Brick, put extra armor on me, and then I attack Brick. I miss the knockdown by 1, which would have been very important. So I just do some momentous damage, and the counter attack from Brick that was declared hits the knockdown exactly. So yeah, I'm knocked down between the Masons, singled out, not a good place to be. Brick just activates and attacks Ox. It's 2 damage, 2 damage, and 4, which is enough to kill Ox, and it's 12-2 for the Masons.